Kelly Ripa is a big fan of Let It Snow, Let It Snow, Let It Snow. The Live with Kelly and Mark host showed the gorgeous winter wonderland views from her luxurious $27 million townhouse in the Upper East Side in New York City. She posted the enchanting views from her balcony for her followers online. Her video featured snow-covered trees, streets, and cars as the snow continued falling. The TV star also featured a video of her snow-covered backyard, which included wooden panels, a seating area, and a wooden patio covering the outside lighting. Kelly lives in the exquisite townhouse with her husband and fellow co-host Mark Consuelos, and their beautiful home was documented in a video tour for Architectural Digest. They have resided there for over 12 years, and she gushed with the outlet that it's become their favorite place on earth. The pair know a thing or two about properties, being that they've moved multiple times, and they feel at peace knowing they've found their forever home. Kelly recalled, "When I walked in here, I was like, this is the final place where I will live." The duo's inspiration for their elegant master bedroom, which features neutral tones and sleek textures, was a beautiful hotel that they saw in Europe. Kelly expressed, "It's sexy, it's peaceful, it's quiet. That was the feeling we were going for." She also explained that everything in the space is unique, being that it was imported from a Parisian flea market. When it comes to the large mirror across their bed, Mark comically explained, "And don't think we're crazy about putting a mirror in front of our bed. It hides a TV." Kelly added, "Yeah, we don't stare at ourselves. We watch Judge Judy in here." To add to the luxurious property, Mark impressively has his own cigar lounge, which has a special ventilation system that sucks the smoke out of the sky so that it never smells like cigars. Mark proudly calls it the ultimate guy's room. The couple noted that their white marble kitchen really is the heart and soul of the classy house. It features a specific area for coffee, since they're both self-proclaimed fussy coffee drinkers, as well as a dining space and gigantic island. Their house is not only elegant, but sentimental. Their hallway is adorned by huge paintings of their kids' eyeballs. The couple's children, Michael, 28, Lola, 24, Joaquin, 22, are all grown up now and have left the nest. Therefore, featuring the eccentric art in their home makes them feel closer to them. Mark shared, "They don't live here anymore, so when we leave our bedroom, it feels like they're still with us." Kelly added, "And I could stare at my kids' eyes forever. I just think they're great." It wasn't the kind of snow that arrived in fits and starts, the polite city-scrubbed flakes that melt against hot taxi hoods and vanish into gutter steam. This was the real kind of winter, the kind photographers wait for, thick, quiet snow that softens the angles of the world and makes even the familiar look as if it's been newly invented. Through the tall panes of glass on the Upper East Side, the townhouse across the street had become a sugar-dusted silhouette. Street lamps looked like old-fashioned candles. Tree branches bowed under lacy white. The whole city felt like someone had wrapped it in a hush. Kelly pressed her forehead to the cold of the window and smiled. The balcony door was slightly ajar. A hint of cold
carried the
climbed
smell
into the
of
kitchen.
coffee and wood smoke. Mark was somewhere downstairs, more than likely practicing his morning routine with the same dedicated fuss he applied to everything, a cigar ritual in the study, then a coffee ceremony in their custom spot at the Marble Island. Even after 12 years in this house, their rituals still felt new every winter, like a private holiday. She wrapped a thick robe tighter and padded barefoot across the wooden floor. The house, their house, was a thing of many stories. It sat on a narrow stretch of East 60th like a reliquary of an older New York, all stoop and cornice and carved stone. Inside, it unfolded into rooms that spoke in calm neutrals and quiet luxuries. A master bedroom inspired by some elegant hotel they'd once seen in Europe, furniture scavenged from Parisian flea markets and reassembled into something that felt both intimate and oddly cinematic. A mirror stood across their bed, the source of neighborhood speculation whenever the Architectural Digest tour clip resurfaced online. Mark always laughed about that mirror. "It's not vanity," he would say. "It's engineering. There's a television hiding behind it." Kelly would add, equally amused, We don't stare at ourselves. We watch Judge Judy sometimes. It's very grounding. This morning, though, the television was irrelevant. The world outside had simplified the everything into white. Downstairs, Mark's laugh, a deep, warm thing, drifted up the stairwell. Their 3 grown children, now living lives outward from the nest, would no doubt be sending photo texts of their own cities. Michael in some tech hub, irritated but proud. Lola somewhere between an art opening and a rehearsal, sun in her hair. Joaquin, who always had a knack for wandering and then sending postcards. The hallway in Kelly's house still held the enormous portraits, the eyes of their children painted in that intimate, slightly theatrical close-up that made guests pause. The paintings were an eccentricity, surely, but they anchored the place. When Kelly walked past them, it felt like an embrace. She opened the balcony door and stepped out into the snow, feeling the crystalline cold bite at her robe-clad calves. The balcony was wide enough for an afternoon of reading or an impromptu late-night dinner when spring came. Now it held a little winter scene, a chair half buried, a table rimmed with snow, the ironwork trace-stitched with frost. The city below moved with a mild luxury of slowed things. Cars moved like thoughts, deliberate. A delivery man in a bright orange parka trudged through drifts, and a dog with an attitude shook off its coat like a tiny explosion of white. She filmed a quick video on her phone, impulsive and delighted, the way people do now, a short clip so the moment could be passed on. "Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow," she sang softly, half to herself, half to anyone who might catch the clip online later. People loved these small windows into other lives, the hearthside domesticity of a townhouse where marble met reclaimed wood, where coffee mattered enough to have its own nook. The clip showed the trees and the street and Mark's improbable cigar lounge windows, a room with its own ventilation system that whooshed out smoke like a secret. Mark had called it the ultimate guy's room the first time he explained it to the Architectural Digest camera crew. It made them both laugh, the idea that a house could be both a sanctuary of marital softness and a fortress of masculine ritual. When Kelly came back inside, the kitchen was bright with winter light. White marble counters gleamed with an almost holy clarity. A pot of dark, serious coffee steamed on the stove. They designed the space to be heart and soul, and it had been more than a slogan. The island had hosted early morning strategizing, late-night family debates, Christmas cookie mayhem, crying sessions and reconciliations, the last hug before a child left for a semester abroad. Today, it hosted 2 cups and the small, private joy of being together. Mark was standing by the coffee station, 2 mugs in hand. He wore his hair in that careless way that made him look like he'd been caught smiling mid-thought. He kissed Kelly on the temple the way someone flips a page in a beloved book, reverent, familiar. "Snow day," he said, as if stating a fact that required no further embellishment. "Snowy Wonderland," Kelly corrected. "See for yourself." He peered at the window and then at the balcony and then at the steaming cups. "We should make a snowman," he said, with exactly the amount of sincerity he used for other lofty ideas. "We could name him Benito or Phil." "Benito?" Kelly laughed. "We are not naming a snowman Benito." Their banter was light, easy, the kind that comes from years of co-writing the sentences of a shared life. They ate in companionable silence, listening to the muffled pulse of the city being softened by snow. The house seemed to breathe slowly around them, the low hum of the ventilation in Mark's cigar room, the distant squeak of a neighbor's radiator, the soft tick of the grandfather clock that had somehow found its place in a room that had once been intended as an art salon. The day unfolded like a careful, slow film. Kelly found herself drawn to the fire pit in the backyard, an improbable little oasis behind the townhouse that felt miles from the metropolis. Wooden panels made an intimate enclosure. There was a seating area with cushions tucked into the snow, and a wooden pergola lined with lights. They barely twinkled in the daytime glare, but would be magical in the evening. The backyard had its own personality. The furniture wore winter coats, the fairy lights were sleeping bulbs, the planters held mystery under snow. Mark had shoveled a small path earlier, a gentleman's trail from the back door to the bench. It was adorable and domestic in a way that pleased both of them.